Well, it is Monday, July 8th, and we have our 8 a.m. advisory in from the National Hurricane Center on now, once again, Hurricane Beryl. So Beryl did weaken into a tropical storm as it did move through the southwest Gulf of Mexico, but as it interacted with warm ocean water that is present in this western portion of the Gulf of Mexico, it has continued to pop up in intensity and now is a Category 1 hurricane where it did make landfall just shortly ago. So right now, as of the 8 a.m. advisory, winds 75 miles an hour, which is about half of what Beryl had when it did make its first landfall in the island of Grenada, but still packing quite a punch with very strong gusty winds, and that will do some damage. The pressure up to 980 millibars. So the higher and higher that pressure creeps back up to say 1,000 millibars, that is going to be good signs of weakening within this storm. So moving north at 12 miles an hour right now and going to continue its path through really the central portion of the United States. As you can see, it's still going to maintain some kind of structure all the way until we get up here into the Ohio, maybe even Michigan area. But still, there are still some question marks with this in terms of how much intensity this will still have, but plenty of moisture to go around with this. And the good news is we are expecting Beryl to continue to weaken after regaining its hurricane status earlier this morning as it does move over land as opposed to the warm ocean water. So it made another landfall today, this time in the U.S. on the Gulf Coast of Texas. So around 4 a.m. Central Time, so closer to around 5 a.m. here. We're looking at Matagorda, Texas. That is kind of the vicinity of where the eye did officially cross on over. And note that the winds were sustained at about 80 miles an hour, pressure at 979. So pressure up 1 millibar now, and the winds are about 5 miles an hour less than what they were when Beryl did make its landfall. But nonetheless, still coastal areas of Texas and even further inland extending into tropical storm and hurricane watches and warnings. Right now, hurricane warning for these areas closer to where the eye did cross on over, the heaviest of rain of sorts, but lots and lots of rain as Beryl did gain its intensification back into a Category 1 hurricane and still going to have an impact in these tropical storm warned areas that are in the red right there. So the only difference between these, tropical storm warning is the same impacts as hurricane warnings, just not quite to the parameters or as strong of winds or how high the storm surge may get per se. So the further inland, the better chance you are going to have of still seeing some flooding, but closer to the coast, we're looking at the risk of storm surge, damaging winds, as I mentioned, and also tornado threats within the dirty side of this hurricane. We'll continue to keep you updated, but the good news is, as of right now, still no impacts forecasted for central Georgia, and this storm will continue to weaken as it does move into the central portion of the United States.